Mr. Boy, sir, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing very well. How are you, man?
I'm doing better than most. Can't complain. Well, I could complain, but nobody care if I did. Nobody care if I did. I want to say thank you for doing this podcast. I always try to do one podcast in June for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I got to thinking, maybe I ain't the most qualified person to do this. That's I can give my opinion, but I know somebody a little bit more qualified to be. I'm like, you know what? Let's see
Hey,
what
man,
Johnny doing.
that's right, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. The only bigger compliment than getting an invite is to get a re-invite. So I appreciate it, brother.
Let me go ahead and do my crappy intro, and I try to keep it short for you. Coming out of this podcast, just a man doing the best he can with what he got. And today, I got a return guest, the Memphis-born leader of 15 years experience in ministry, business, development, and education, the regional account executive, founder of More Consulting, and let's not forget the most important thing, father to Johnny Moore the fourth, and a guy who's been a pastor and a mentor to men. Return guest, Johnny Moore the third. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me again, man. I appreciate it.
Well, the reason why I have you on is June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and
right.
you wrote a book that I love, a devotional called Anchor, Finding Your Strength Through Your Struggles. And a lot of men are struggling, and I just wanted to bounce some ideas off you and get your perspective, so maybe you can help somebody or anybody who may come across this. And the first question I got is, why do you think it's so hard for men to ask for help? Because it's one of those things, knowing you need help, but not being able to ask. How do we break that stigma, and how do we get men to say, hey, man, I need some help?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, man. The question is the why. And I think there are several reasons. Whenever I come on your podcast, first off, I appreciate the opportunity, but I know I got to have my research done because you're always very keen on the research and making sure that. But it all stems from the why. So I started to ask myself, hey, why do we find ourselves struggling with this opportunity of asking the necessary question of, hey, how can I get help, or why can't I ask for help? And I think it kind of stems from a couple of different reasons. I marked down number one, Marcus, I think we just grew up in a system or a culture or a society where we were conditioned to equate strength with silence. We were told as little boys, you need to man up. We were told, don't cry, suck it up, handle your business. All of these things that caused us to remain silent about prevailing issues that we really needed to talk more than we were silent about. And I think that was, just one thing that we really had to get past. Also, societal views of us. We have, and many of us have, rather not past tense, but currently have this fear of being judged and being vulnerable. There are not a lot of spaces to where we can feel like we are in a safe space to not be judged, and we can be vulnerable with our feelings, with our emotions, with our thoughts, with our struggles. And I think those are a couple of things that we have dealt with for many, many years and even decades, and dare I say, have been transferred down from other generations to where, what happened in this house, stay in this house. But the question is, who are you talking to about those secret things that are traumatizing, that are shaking your emotions, that are shaping your perspectives based on your experience? So some of those things have happened for us. Also, thirdly, and finally, I think, Marcus, that many men just don't have that safe space to talk to someone. We have all of these ideas, and we may have fraternity brothers, but the question is, do we utilize the resources that we have? Are they safe spaces to where we're not looking for, or we shouldn't look for, an environment or a space that's just going to let us run rampant with our thoughts, our feelings, or our emotions? But we do need a space to where someone can have a listening ear, to where they're intent on listening to hear what I'm experiencing more than they are quickly to judge what I'm experiencing through their own perspective or through their own lens. And I think because of those top three reasons, man, we've been in this place of self-made isolation. I believe that walls can both create barriers for people to enter. But if we're not careful, those same walls that we put up as barriers for people to enter also create barriers for us to have an outlet, a safe space to talk through these things, a safe space to even bounce ideas off, a safe place to question the inevitable questions that all of us have in our lives. Like, what's my purpose? What's my call? What am I meant to do next? Have I wasted my time? How can I make better of the decisions that I've made in my past? And if we don't have a safe space to be able to vet those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, we tend to have a proclivity to delve into toxicity, to anesthetize these real places that we feel and we experience in our lives. And we feel like because we have filled that void with something, it's the best thing. And the problem is, the best thing is not alcohol. The best thing is not the next woman. The best thing sometimes is even not the vice that many of us have. The question is, how are we filling those voids? And I think we see on topic, we see more men struggling with mental health. And the question or the concern that I have that I feel is alarming, Marcus, is we don't see the result of individuals that have struggled with mental health until it's too late. Until we see the Sports Center report of the guy that takes his life, even though he's playing for the Dallas Cowboys, amassed his dreams, has wealth, but still there's something that is not met emotionally, mentally, relationally, to where we just throw it all out the window because we're making these decisions based on improper places to entrust our feelings and our emotions. And I think those are top three things that are kind of barriers for men to be able to speak to the stuff that all of us are dealing with.
Well said. With that in mind, how do we make a safe space for men? Because so very often we know it's a problem, and those top three reasons you gave are spot on. How do we foster that? Like, how? I know reading your book is one thing. I gave your book to a multiple amount of my friends. I bought it 3 times. Like, hey man, read this because it's
Thank you, man. Thank
devotional
you.
that actually
Yes,
helps.
sir.
But how do we foster that safe space for men in general?
I think it is one of two things. We can't absolve ourselves from the responsibility of finding a safe space. Sometimes it's easy for us to say, well, every place I've trusted, I got nothing from it. And we can't stop there. We have to be on a mission, dare I say, to seek those safe places. Well, where can we find those safe places? In a trusted friend. That is someone that I've been through life with, both good and bad. That's a trusted friend that I can share my emotions with. Finding a mentor, someone that has been where I'm trying to go, someone that has raised the children, someone that has been relatively successful, whatever your definition of successful is in marriage or relationship or career. I think we need to have multiple mentors. If I'm very honest, you need a financial mentor. You need a relationship coach. I think you need someone that helps you to better determine how to deal with your emotions. I think it's one thing to tell us to suppress everything, but you still don't want to. This is bad English, Marcus, but you still don't want to be popping off at everybody because you have no emotional control.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, bro. I get it. I get it. I get your masculinity, but there's got to be a good, healthy place of displacement of your masculinity. You just can't be popping off on people and talking about, but I'm a man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, maturation emotionally needs to let us know, okay, how can I temper those emotions? How can I temper those feelings? How can I still communicate how I feel, but articulate it in a way to where it's palatable, to where it's able to be received by others?
I think you were hitting the nail on the head because I was laughing so much because that was me. Like that that masculinity try to thought everything had to be hard, everything had to be a
Yes,
hammer, man. You know, when you're a hammer,
that's right.
everything like a nail. And I just want to hit hard,
That's
man.
right.
Well, I said it, and I'm gonna stand on this, man. If they don't like it, it's like, nah, bro. Like you was kind of being a jerk.
There's a couple of different ways you can say the same thing. You
Yes.
know, there's a way, to add value to somebody without tearing them down, without being disrespectful, without being demeaning. Like, yeah, I know you a man, but everything you say out of your mouth got to be disrespectful. It has to be demeaning. Do you not care about the person more than your delivery to the person? And I think
Facts.
when we do that, we resolve to um, do life with people in a way to where it's mutually beneficial. To where no, I'm not gonna pull any punches. I'm gonna let you know, hey, my guy, you said that the wrong way. I think this is a better way we could say this. Or,
Mhm.
you know what? Bet, say less. I think that's a great place of feedback. I appreciate you giving me that feedback. This is what I heard from that. Tell me if I heard you correctly,
Mhm.
because I've learned it takes more energy to course correct than it does just to spout off based on my emotions or my feelings. And the one thing we can't do, Marcus, a couple of different things. You can't get time back and you can't take words back.
Mhm.
Once you have thrusted those words out there, the landing effect and the impression of it, you can't take it back. You can apologize for it, but it's going to take more time to repair what you tore down than it is to take time to think through, okay, this is what I'm feeling. How can I say this to make sure I'm not harboring or hoarding what I'm feeling? Because I also don't want to create a space to where I'm walking around on eggshells because I can't express any of my emotions. Because that's also a unhealthy place for a lot of men, to where we feel like, hey, because I'm masculine, I'm strong, I'm the leader, I'm a leadership figure, to where I have to walk on eggshells about what I say. No, no, no. That's not the construct that we're trying to build. What we are trying to build is emotional, intelligent individuals that can speak truth in a way to where people can receive it. Now, the truth is going to be hard to hear, but disrespect is always the worst way to communicate that. So, kind of back to this mindset is that doesn't come by osmosis. That comes through friendships, valued conversations. That comes through mentorship. That also comes through counseling. You need to talk to a professional, my guy. You need to talk to someone that's been to school, that this is their area of expertise to help you um, unwind, to unveil, if you will, the reasons behind even how you're perceiving it, how you're receiving it, and how you're, putting that out there. Sit on somebody's couch. You're not too much of a man to have a conversation and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what that experience at 13 with my dad made me feel like.
You said mentorship, and I truly
Mhm.
believe mentorship is the key for men in general, black men, white men,
Mhm.
men in general. You need mentorship.
Sure, for sure.
But how do we get the youth to trust us? You see a lack of elders now, man. There is no wise old elders that can say, hey,
Yes,
young man, what you're doing really ain't the right way. Why don't you try it this way? And I kind of
yes,
see why, because all the old people are young now. Like nobody is old anymore. Everybody is young.
yes,
Nobody accepts the position of being an elder no more. To the point,
for
I'll go
sure.
ahead and say it, man. The reason why I don't go to homecoming a lot of times is I don't want to see old
Mhm.
men act like young fools. I'm like, you
Oh,
you
wow.
are married, you got kids, you in your 40s, she is
That's right.
19. Bro, what are
That's
you
right.
doing, man? You making all of
That's
us
right.
look bad. I just don't want to do that. How do we get the
Yeah.
youth to follow us?
Yes.
How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, I think it's with a great level of intentionality. I will speak twofold because I definitely see where you're coming from. I think within all of our, if we will, homecoming experience or whatever our places of connection are, it is being able to find the good even amidst a lot of bad. So there's this, I can't name no names, but this one fraternity brother from the early 90s that I always saw as a beacon of light amidst a lot of other places that were less desirable. All my love, for sure, you get this because of our lives and the things that we've experienced together. But there are certain people that I saw where I'd like to be. And let me be honest with you, even if I were able to find those in other fraternities, to where I could look at other individuals and say, okay, we don't have the same frat, but I see what he's doing. I see the goals. I see the intentionality of his life. Hey, man, we all Martin Greeks. We all were the minority in a PWI. Hey, there are some similarities here. You understand the grind. You've been through some things that I haven't been through. You have survived some career choices that you had to make. Being a young Black man, what can I take from those experiences and those conversations? And I'll be honest with you, one question I always asked them. I asked them, hey, what would you tell your 30-year-old self? Whatever that age gap is, because I'm looking to intentionally glean wisdom from their past mistakes. I think also we got to be able to be transparent enough with a younger generation to make sure that they understand I'm not coming to you to mentor you from a place of perfection. I'm coming to mentor you from a place of caution. Hey, man, I've made the mistakes. I have wasted valuable relationships. I have wasted time. I have delved into places and spaces to where I knew I had no business being in, but because I wanted to fit in with a lot of individuals, because I didn't want to stand out because of some of the decisions that I made. But let me tell you how that negatively affected me. So hopefully they can learn from some of the mistakes that we made. And I got to talk to my old heads. Also, we got to be willing to share those stories. If I can be very personable here, I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with my dad 4 or 5 years ago because all of my life, I saw the transformed Johnny the second. And I didn't know I was struggling with some of the things that I was struggling with that wasn't based on Johnny the third's life. It was based on some of the things that my dad had overcome, but we had never had the conversation of, hey, I need you to look out for this. We need to utilize the OGs or the previous generation as a compass. You know, a compass tells you, hey, you're getting off course. The GPS always tells us, hey, you need to reroute, or there's an accident ahead. You need to get off here. We got to be able to use that. Exactly. But it's also up to the younger generation to listen to that voice. Because if you like me, sometimes I think I know better than the GPS. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm good if I can make it to this next exit. And I spend 15 minutes trying to get to the next exit to where I'm comfortable, but I didn't see the path that was ahead of me. So I think there's dual responsibility. There's a level of humility for the younger generation to receive that knowledge, but also, man, for us that have been out of school, had the experiences that you have had overseas, the level of humility that you have gained, and all of the knowledge and wisdom that you've now applied to your life, now being willing to go back and even understand, hey, man, sometimes they don't receive it the first time. Neither did we in our 20s.
Facts.
You remember as many people came to us and tried to tell us all the stuff. We're expecting something of the younger generation that we didn't even possess at that age. So it's going to take patience. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take intentionality. And let me tell you what one of my frat brothers did. I did remember this. I graduated. I came home. I couldn't find a job. And consequently, my frat brother was a pastor. He was launching a new church, and I'll never forget this. I asked him back in the day, he took me to Houston's restaurant off of Poplar. And I was like, hey, I don't have no money to pay you back. And this is what this old school dude told me. He said, don't worry about paying me back. Just pay it forward. Within the next 20 years, you need to be in a place to where you can reach back to somebody Take them out to eat and make sure that you're helping them in the same way I'm helping you, through conversation, through example. He brought me into his home, introduced me to his wife, showed me his value for family, showed me his priority for his children. Man, even outside of my mom and dad, who've now been married 46 years, man, that was another example to
Mhm.
where, if I'm honest, my mom and dad, they just seem to be unattainable. Like, they got married in the 80s, they were the Cosby Show. But
Mhm.
I'm looking at guys like right now that's dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Mhm.
How can I see levels of success? So I think, again, there's duality in responsibility of the younger guys. Hey, man, I need y'all to be humble. I need you to be receptive to what we're saying. But, old heads, let's not get too anxious and not be patient with them, remembering who we were in our 20s and in our 30s, and the
Mhm.
amount of people that it took sometimes to beat that nail with a hammer time and time again for it to finally penetrate our heart, our mindset, our perspectives. You don't get it through the hole the first time all the time. You know, there will be some experiences that we'll have with that, but there's consistency of hammering the same positive message. Hey, hold yourself accountable. Don't be too hard on yourself. Live with integrity. Live with character. Enjoy life. Um, Build this delayed gratification to where you don't have to look the best right
Mm.
now, but you're setting yourself up for the future. These are the things we got to hammer into the next generation so they don't squander some of the blessings that they have through exposure and experience that we had in our lives.
And they do have blessings on top of blessings, and it's all. I
On
guess that's the
top of
curse.
blessings.
That's the curse of being older, right? You always be like, "Well, if I would had this birthday," and I see that a lot. And you hit something that I think that is really lacking and stopping the youth from following us, and that is success. It seems
Mhm.
in this hyper capitalistic system that we're in, and money is not everything, but it's hard to say money is not everything to somebody who has nothing. They're looking at the best way
Right.
to make money. So
For sure.
and I'm trying to like tell everybody, hey, money isn't everything because it really isn't. I tell everybody, money is not happiness. But I've
That's right.
noticed I've been able to reach more young people by actually pulling up my brokerage account and being like, look, bro, this is what I got. You can get
For
more than
sure.
this. And
Yes.
that's kind of the problem. I'm like, well, I got to be successful because you're not going to
Mhm.
receive what I'm saying if you don't see a level of success for me.
Yeah, I think that that's a great way, but also in tandem with that, I think we got to set the younger generation up in acts of service that
Mhm.
gives them an experience with people that are less fortunate than they are, to then prioritize and really see the value of being in a situation that money can't fix.
Hmm.
When you take them to the hospital and they see people laying in a hospital bed, that no matter how much money you can acquire, it doesn't immediately fix that situation.
Hmm.
Taking them to a facility of um, older individuals, to
Facts.
where life has now passed them and their health is not where it used to be. What does money do for them? It's all
Facts.
about presence. It's all about relationship building. And I think we have to do a better job in being intentional in putting the younger generation in situations to where they can see, while money is great, I need you to see some situations that your bag can't bring you out of.
Facts.
Let me take you over to Mozambique, Africa, and show you. Me and you, we gonna sponsor a young man and let's send him to Africa for 2 weeks, where he has to draw his own water from a
Mm.
well.
Mm.
He has to pick crops. He literally has to barter with gathering vegetables and walking miles to the market to sell it, just to be able to have food for the next day. It's through those experiences that we have that teaches us a lesson that wealth and money could never teach us. And I think we need a balance of both. Show me the wealth because I need to know it's possible, but
Mhm.
also show me what life could look like when my money cannot affect it positively. And I think with that duality of presentation, we get a level of appreciation for money which I think the younger generation needs to have, because then when you acquire it and you spend it and you blow it, which is why 80% of every person that wins the lottery is broke within 3 to 5
Yep.
years, because they didn't change their mentality or their approach to money. And if that is the case, we got to break the mentality, the impoverished mindset that many of us have in this younger generation, by our exposure, our experiences, and our education to that next generation.
Oh man, you were hitting the nail on the head, and I think you're right. Service. I mean, if you didn't say anything, that is the key. Having these folks exposed to that. Because I never forget. I went to the Philippines. I'll tell this quick story. I went to the Philippines, and I went with a friend of mine, and we were supposed to be going to a place. I had the DJ, and we ended up getting lost. And we got out, and I instantly looked around, and I told my friend, "Hey man, we the marks. We about to get robbed. We need to leave." And he was like, "Well, what you mean?" I'm like, "Dude, look around. We the only people with shoes. Like, we're the only people with shoes on here. Dude, let's go." So as we go in, people are literally following us, about to rob us. But I never forget that. I'm like, oh man, I'm not even like wearing anything major. But I saw another level of hunger that made me say, okay, yes, my social economic condition in America ain't perfect. And I'm from poverty, but this is poverty. It ain't like,
that's right. It's levels to this.
Bad.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's to expose that.
That is a thing that changed my experience, because coming from those missions opportunity to where you're intentionally placing yourself there to be a help and to be an aid. But man, it's the little things like being able to come home and turn on a light. It's like, wow. Being able to come on and you have central air conditioning and central heat. There's not a fan that you're depending on. Mosquitoes that affect just all of the things that we take for granted, man, because of that lack of exposure to true poverty. When I came back, I coined the phrase, and not really coined the phrase, but I really had a better understanding of first world problems.
Yes.
Kevin Hart talks about this whole ordeal where his kids are like, "Dad, the Wi-Fi is down." Like, really? That's the biggest problem you have? That the Wi-Fi is down, when these individuals are worried about intervals of having electricity or not, because they have to go through these blackouts to conserve energy within their village. So there's a period of time to where they have no electricity. You're talking about Wi-Fi? You're talking about, my son's talking about, "Oh my God, Dad, my iPad's battery is about to die." Son, are you serious? If you don't go outside and find something to do, I find even our level of creativity at some point is hampered because of some of the technological advancements that we have, because we're not forced to be creators. We're forced now to be consumers.
Yep.
And because we have a more consumerist mindset, we're no longer creators of anything. And because we're consumers, we're worried about spending more than we are investing in our intellectual property, and the things that no one can take away. So I just think these are things that we just have to instill and make priority for the next generation that's coming behind us, man.
Oh, man, actually, this is why you talk to Minister Johnny Moore III, because once again, he's gonna put things in perspective, man. Like, seriously, because this is what it's all about. And I'll leave you with this, man. I just want to get your opinion on this, man. Because you've been dropping jewels. Young folks now seem, and maybe it's because of technology, seem to be more distant than ever, and they're losing communication skills. And I feel like that's leading to depression, because you said in our previous podcast that we have access but no communication. And you're so very right. I was dwelling on that. Like, you're right. We have too much access but no communication. How do we get communication back and front? And I would say this before I let you take it. Folks think I'm anti-church because I'm not a Christian, which is so far from the truth. I tell young men all the time, "Hey man, go to church. Like, go to church, because and I'm not trying to be blasphemous when I say this, but I feel like even more important than the religion is the community. Somebody you can talk to, somebody's
I
gonna ask
agree.
how you doing, somebody who's just
Agree.
you can sit next to, you can look side. Like the whole beauty of church for me was look to your neighbor and ask him how you doing. Like that was like, yo,
Yes,
familiarity we hear. So I tell young
for
men all the
sure.
time, man, go to church, find you a church to go to.
That's right. That's right. No, I think you're spot on. I had an opportunity to visit Tokyo, Japan, and this is a totally different juxtaposition between Africa and Japan. Africa, highly impoverished. There are some pockets of wealth for sure in Africa. So I don't want to paint this picture that there's no wealth, there's no commerce there in Africa, but there are definitely some spaces and places to where we see poverty like no other country. But in Japan, you don't see the same. You see a business society, very well to do. Everyone is dressed for success, very clean. Some of the freshest fruit and vegetables and food that I've ever
Facts.
tasted in my life. KFC hit different in Japan.
It
Uh,
does.
for sure, for sure. But even in that, I saw the highest rate of depression and suicide is in Tokyo, Japan. So I start
Facts.
to ask the question, why is that? Even with such a level of business affluence, a level of um, commerce and financial wealth, what is there? And it's the lack of community. So much so, people I found, and through research and experience, people would rent animals to have meals with
True.
because they did not have community of people to meet with. And I think to answer your question, man, we just have to be intentional about taking away technology and taming our FaceTime, no pun intended, with technology. I have a 6-year-old son now, and I have to be intentional about not allowing him to stay on his iPad and his YouTube station, although it's controlled to make sure it's age appropriate. But no, let's have a conversation. Hey, come over here. Let's do this puzzle.
Mhm.
Let's read the story this past weekend, Father's Day weekend. I don't know when it's going to be aired, but this past weekend, we went over the story of creation. For me, and this wasn't even me imposing it. This is a conversation I had with him over FaceTime to where he's trying to figure out, hey, where is this? He's trying
Mm.
to rationalize, when did the world start? Where did this from a 6-year-old? Well, what I'm finding is he has exposure and a limited amount of exposure to the internet. But if I don't control the spaces that he sees through his eye gate, through his ear gate, that's controlling of his mind.
Fine. Yeah.
And I have to filter that. And I think with the next generation, we have to be intentional to not just take away technology, but refill it with something that's substantive. The problem with us is we can't just be one dimensional and say, get off the iPad.
Mm.
Now what? What are you going to do? What kind of STEM program will you put your son or your daughter in to fire their ingenuity or their innovation? What type of summer camp can you get them in to just explore what they want to do? What kind of sports can you expose them to outside of basketball and football?
Thank you. Facts.
What higher levels of exposure can you get them? And let's be honest, my son's gonna be short. Okay, so he
Mine
he he
too.
might not make the NBA. Is there a spot for him on a lacrosse
Cross
team?
here. Get the stick, man.
Yeah, can you get a stick? And it's not all about the sport. This is what I also found out. It's about the relationships that he's able to build.
Yes.
It's about his ability to communicate even outside of his race.
Mm.
Because you don't see a lot of us in
You
lacrosse.
don't.
So now you are forced to be able to engage, to interact
Mm.
with substantive conversation through a commonality of sport that builds community. So you are used to, when you get out of high school, you go into college, you can have a concrete conversation with someone that doesn't look like you, that doesn't come from where you come from, that doesn't have a parental structure that you have, and you're able to evolve based on your exposure. But if we're not intentionally exposing the next generation, they are hampered, and there's a lid on top of what they can even experience in life because of the lack of exposure that we have not created.
Thank
My
you.
son doesn't know what he needs to see until I show him something he's never seen. And then we leave it up to him to say, I don't know if that's really my purpose. Or, hey, I did know that would be my purpose. And I think through these opportunities, we're intentional, man. We're willing to come. This is very key. We got to be willing as old heads to come out of our comfort zone to give them exposure to even the things that we didn't have.
Yes.
We
Yes.
can't limit them and their exposure to our limited exposure.
Exposure. Yep. Yep.
At some
Yep.
point, you got to take him. And I'm going to start doing this with my son because he has a very peculiar palate. So there's some foods that he just doesn't want. And this is what I found out, Marcus. Are you ready for this?
Hit me.
He doesn't even know he doesn't like it. He looks at it and makes a determination that he doesn't like it. So what I forced him to do is now, because I want to expose him. Now I say, no, you can't tell me no until you try it.
Mm.
So this summer, this is the goal, this is the plan. Again, I don't know when this is airing, but the goal and the plan is to allow him to go to a restaurant from every nationality. Even though I don't do Indian food, I want my son Joe to at least have the experience.
Mm.
I want my son to be exposed to another language. So he's much more marketable. He can go other places because conversation rule the nation. If you don't know the language, you can't converse with the people.
So,
and if you can't converse with the people, we can't see really the success that can come through partnership because we have that language barrier. But again, because you only know broken English, you're gonna limit your child.
So man, once again, thank you for saying this because this has been my thing about America, and it kind of tiptoes into the amorphous nature of black and white because a lot of people feel like blackness has to be a certain way, and before you even walk in a room, the stereotype hits you. I noticed that in Japan. Like when I
Yes.
walked in a room, even though I am from that environment, when I came in, I thought I was supposed to wear a do-rag, wear a tank top, and hold my gun sideways.
Right.
I'm like, yo, you already had a perception of me that I had to break down, but I had to have that exposure. And one thing about America that is beautiful, it is diverse. You have so many opportunities to like you said, try Indian food, man, to talk to your Muslim neighbor, talk to your Hindu neighbor, talk to your Jewish neighbor. And that's one thing that I learned in the Army. Like the Army was my eye opener. I was able to, because I was trying to get out of doing work. On Saturdays and Sundays, you had to clean the barracks. But if you didn't want to clean the barracks, you had to go to like a place of worship. So for me, I was like, yo, I don't want to clean the barracks. So every Saturday or Sunday, I would pick a new place of worship. Like I would talk to Mormons. I would talk to Muslims. I would talk to Jews. I went to synagogue. But it opened me up, like you said, to be able to communicate to people and to have a commonality. Like, okay, I respect what you're doing. This is what they're. I never forget in Japan, what got me in more so than anything was it was a meeting, a business meeting, and it's food. And I took my chopsticks, I turned them around, I used the back end to pick up my food. And everybody looked at me and said, wait, how do you know how to do that? Why do you know how to do that? I was like, oh, I studied your culture. You put the back end because my mouth goes on the front end. So I'm using the back end. And they're like, hey, man, let me introduce you to some other stuff.
That's right.
It's so you hit the nail on the head, man. Like that's what we need to do. Yes. Exposure.
Yeah, we have to invest in them in multiple ways. There's no one size fits all. Multiple ways, and I think in that intentional investment, we give them a blank canvas to paint their own story to. We don't minimize their area of opportunity to even experience who they are or who they could become. And I think, you know, we shrink opportunities based on our limitations, self-imposed limitations, and I think
Self-imposed, yeah.
that it's self-imposed, and that's another place of accountability. No, this is not the man. This is self-imposed. Yes. Are there some areas of opportunity to where we could see better opportunities? Absolutely. But my focus is on what I can control and what not what I can't control. I have to maximize, Marcus, on what I can control. What can I control? How I educate my son, how I maximize the time that I do have with him, the things that I teach him about emotional intelligence, about my phrase with Joe now is use your words.
Yes.
No, no, no. Use your words. Tell me what you're feeling. Okay, why is that? No, no, no. You don't have to whine, articulate, because I can't understand that. Well, that's what comes about when he becomes a teenager and he's so frustrated to where he can't articulate because he hadn't had any practice. He only had practice on spouting off out of emotions and not be calculated and composed to say, I'm upset right now. Okay, we label that. Now let's deal with the why. What made you upset? There's this video, me and my guy, we were talking about this young man. His dad is training him, and the dad, much like my dad, is a man's man, and he's yelling at him, and he's that coach, he's that, you know, that man's man, right? And the little boy says, Daddy, I don't like when you yell at me. He said, okay, thank you for telling me. He said, I still, the boy says this, broke me down. The boy said, I still want you to coach me, Daddy, but I can't hear you when you yell at me. He wasn't saying, I don't want you to be, hold me accountable, but he's saying your delivery ain't hitting right. And I need you to adjust it because I want what you have from me. I just can't take it the way you're delivering it.
Yeah, the way you giving it to me, I can't take
And
it.
I think we have to be wise in the delivery of even the necessary things. Hey, man, no, you can't do that, Joe. But there's a way I gotta tell him, and it's not me being soft because I'm altering my delivery. I'm not less of a man, or I don't possess less of a masculine trait because I can adjust my delivery and look him in his eye, still be stern, but not yell at him. You don't got to be a drill sergeant.
Facts.
You're a
Facts.
compass. There's another way to articulate what you need from them. I'm not saying not to have rules, not to have regulations, not to have rewards and consequences, because that's life. To every decision, there's a risk, there's a reward, or there's a consequence. So we got to teach them that early. But my delivery of that has to be managed because I'm the adult. He can't manage that at 6. So I think we have some expectations, you know, it's like suck it up. And we suck it up for so long, we're about to asphyxiate on all of the emotions that we've just bottled in for so long. And at some point, the buck's got to stop with us because we know better. Not that my dad didn't want to do any better. My dad was doing exactly what they did to him in backyard Mississippi, as he was picking cotton and doing all
Same.
the things he was doing in the
Same.
fields. That's what he was taught. He was taught gender roles from another generation, another society. That doesn't mean my son can't learn how to do chores in a house. That
Facts.
doesn't mean my son can't learn how to wash dishes. When I grew up, the man cut the yard and you went outside. I bet not cut you in there, in there washing dishes like that was soft. No, you don't know what situation you'll be put in to where maybe your wife can't do that because she has a specific allergy to it, and you need to be whatever she can't be. But now, because you're limited and you have this limited view of masculinity or what it means to be a man, your mental health is contingent upon something that's no longer realistic.
Okay. Look. I said that was the last question, but you hitting on something. I need to get your opinion on this
Let's go.
because the epidemic of male loneliness is hitting hard. And people are talking about man loneliness. And it
That's
generally
right.
stems from dating. Like dating and men not being able to find mates. And I think it's
Okay.
because a lot of these guys are afraid to adjust, right? They're still looking at a world that doesn't exist anymore.
For
Because say
sure.
what you want, my grandma,
Hmm.
the paradigm was different then. In order for her to survive, she had to get married, and
For sure.
she couldn't get a bank account until 1981. That's when I was born, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
now you have choice, and women have the opportunity to say no because they can make their
That's right.
own money, not as much as
For
men,
sure.
but they can make their own money. And it
For
seems to
sure.
me like a lot of guys are saying, well, they're talking out both sides of the net because in one end, I hear a lot of men saying, how dare her? What's she gonna bring to the table? I can't pay for everything. And then they'll use, well, you should love me because I'm making all this money. And it's like nobody's talking about communication or actually treating that woman like a person.
For sure. I think there are two lenses to that approach. It is adjustment and adaptability.
Mm.
I think that communication is everything. And I feel like at times in relationships, the dating process, if you will, getting to know someone, um, unmet expectations leads to disappointment. Now, if that is the case, my ability to articulate my expectations and the young lady's expectations is our responsibility.
Mm.
And again, we got to create safe spaces to be able to say, hey, these are my non negotiables. I need someone that values family. I need someone that's going to be a nurturer and a lover of my son. That's a non negotiable. If you don't want a man with kids, we don't even need to talk anymore. That's the other thing. We got to stop labeling people as being bad people because they got boundaries and they got non negotiables. That's cool. It doesn't make you a bad person or me a bad person because you don't want to date somebody with kids. It's just that we can't date because I got a 6-year old that's a non negotiable. And no matter where we are, hey, I got to know that this person is safe or my son is safe with this person. That's just an example of a non negotiable that needs to be not a secret, but needs to be something that I'm able to articulate from the onset. Also, there needs to be barriers to where we understand that the relationship process, I believe, in my personal opinion, should be mutually beneficial.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean, in my opinion, Marcus, that every day is going to be 50-50. Because some days, all I got is 30%. And I'm going through vicissitudes of life, and I need you to be 70 today. Like, for real, babe, I don't have it. And I need you to be a safe space to say, I'm still the man, I'm still the head of my household, but life is kicking my tail. And I'm I'm juggling not bowling balls, but I'm juggling boulders with career and all the responsibilities and making sure I'm there with my family and having aging, retiring parents and all of these things. Babe, this week, I don't care what we eat. I can't make that decision this week. I
Mhm.
need you to take the 70, but also being uh adaptable to say, babe, if you're going through something, I can be that safe space and not make her feel like she's less than or not bringing something to the table because she's going through inevitable struggles with life. But that only comes out through proper communication. And let me say, resolution driven communication.
Ooh, like
I
that.
don't just need to just vent it and then there's not a space to come back and say, okay, I received what you said. Is this a good time for us to talk about this, or you
Mm.
just needed to vent?
Mhm.
Bet, say less. This is Tuesday night. How about we do this? Friday, I'm gonna get a babysitter for Joe, and we're gonna go out and let's kind of talk through what you were venting about Tuesday, because I heard some areas of opportunity there, and I just want to be a help. I want to
Mm.
see what you need from me. That's what a man does. That's what a man does because that's how you lead a household. You make plans in that situation, and you also allow yourself to be vulnerable to say, hey, babe, I don't have the answers. but we're going to figure it out together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some research. Let's find a book. Let's find a workbook that we can go through on our weekly check-in. Let's fill in the blanks for this stuff because this is life, and we can't let life drive us. We got to take life by its horns and say, yes, it may be hard. Yes, it may be a struggle, but we're going to get through it together. But to speak to your point, I believe the dating scene is what we make it. I think we come with a lot of preconceived notions at times that don't allow us to get to know people. Sometimes we also come with unrealistic expectations.
So many.
Because let me tell you, I'm probably not gonna find my mama.
Probably not.
This is a different society, a different generation, and that doesn't mean that the women that I'm dating now is less than my mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different time. Because guess what? My mom wasn't cut out like my grandma, who worked 3 jobs, had multiple kids, did all of this as a sink. Like, that lady was the truth, but still was not like my great grandmother that could take care of a household, go and pick cotton all day in extreme heat, never had a corporate background, never had an extensive education. So with every generation, there are areas of opportunity where we can be better, and we've evolved. But our question should be to ourselves: how do we properly handle the evolution of both man and woman in relationship? If we believe that we're made for each other, how do we handle this evolution? How do we handle the evolution of seeing more females in C-suite opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something that my mom never saw. That's something that at times my mom even had to bang the table for equality. Now we're seeing women in ownership opportunities, CEO opportunities. They're branch managers. They're equal in educational attainment and things of that sort. Now, how do I ensure that as a man, I'm not intimidated? I don't feel less than a man because she has equal education or even more in times. How I make that work for us? Hey, babe, do you? Because you going to be Dr. Moore.
Yep.
I could care less. Because this is where we are. How do we make this household to where it's the best for our existence? And I think that starts at a foundation of communication, expectation, and setting the boundaries that we have for coexisting and getting to know each other, and being okay with coming to the realization that everybody's not meant to be with. Some people are like leaves, Marcus. They're only good for a certain season.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them bad people. They were good for the spring. And that leaf is going to fall off based on the season that they're subscribed to in my life. But my discernment lets me know how to compartmentalize the people that I have in my life, because everybody can't be bae. Everybody can't be my significant other. Some women are just meant to be my platonic friend. That gives me a female perspective, of which I have my best friend who I met in Martin my freshman year, and now 26 years later, we do life. She's able to check me and say, Jay, you were absolutely wrong. What were you thinking? Now, no, you deserve that one. Or let me pull up. That type of platonic relationship where I also can exercise discipline to where I don't have to go after every woman I have conversation with.
Facts.
Understanding that some are just platonic relationships, and I maximize whatever they are meant to be in my life. So I think I hope that answered the question, but I think those are some things that we have to keep top of mind before we get into it, because oftentimes it's too late to make the decision after you're already in it. Many of us jump in quicksand and then try to make a decision on how to get out, when you probably should have made the decision to go around the quicksand prematurely or proactively before you jumped in, and now you're struggling to get out of something that could have been avoided because you didn't make the proper decision to go around it.
And that's Minister Johnny Moore the third, author of Anchored, Finding Your Strength Through Your Struggles, a 30-day devotional. And brother, every time we speak, man, I swear you fill up my soul, man. You got to come back with a podcast, and please tell the folks where to find you.
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook as Johnny Moore the Third. I'm also on IG as J Moore 1911. And you can find the book on Amazon. You just search my name, Johnny Moore the Third. It is anchored, finding strength in your struggles. The question is not whether or not we will have struggles. The question is, what do we get out of the struggles that every one of us will face? And I personally believe, from my experience, that there is a place that is strengthened and developed and cultivated even in hardships and struggles. So if that is the case, this is a book for you to walk through on a 30-day journey to find those places of strength and education and insightfulness about yourself through the inevitable struggles that all of us will face, how we can move past the things that we've experienced, how we can identify our purpose and where we are, and even how we can trust for places of uncertainty in our future. So I'd love for you guys to get the book, and hopefully it'll be a blessing and it'll be accomplished to so many individuals that need that encouragement, because also this is a place, a safe space for you to articulate some of those things that you've been harboring. But I ask them open-ended questions to see not just the what, but the why. And then now, what is the foolproof plan that we can put in place to get over the hurt, get over the trauma, and get over some of those negative experiences that we've faced in life?
And I can co-sign to this. You don't need my co-sign, but I'm a co-sign to this. Me going through the book myself and actually writing down my thoughts help. And I tell people, man, like writing it down, it's a magic and a power to that, to seeing your
Yes, sir.
thoughts in that written form in that book and being like, okay, well, this is what I'm feeling, and then going back
Yes,
and
sir.
reading it and actually seeing is that how you really felt. Like, oh man, I feel
That's
like
right.
this. Like I did that. Like brushing up for this podcast, I went through the book again and I read some days and I saw some of the stuff I wrote. I'm like, huh. So that's what you was feeling
Wow.
then. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Like, do you feel that way now, Marcus? No, you
That's
don't.
good.
Hey, that's growth, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
once again, I co-signed the book, man. That's
Thank
Minister
you,
Johnny
sir.
Moore the Third. Man, appreciate you, brother, man,
Thank you, bro.
for joining. I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
have this one out by Sunday. I'm gonna edit this out. And
Okay.
thank you, man, just for making the time to do it.